To celebrate the conclusion of swapping Pokemon types, I have decided to count down my favorites. At number 12 is Silcoon. Frankly, Silcoon was kinda screwed from the start due to the fact it's a cocoon Pokemon and there's not much you can do with it. Especially one like this where it's literally just a cocoon. As the generations went on, they started to show more personality, but for a Gen 3 cocoon, it's pretty well just a circle. It was easy to do and easy to draw, but in result, it ended up with a pretty underwhelming design. Now, you may have noticed there was one here that I didn't mention. Typhlosion. Also known as, this was the 12th video in this playlist, and I had 12 Pokemon, so there was one missing. Yeah, Typhlosion was made during the series' run, however, my video file corrupted for it, which you may be wondering why it's so low. Frankly, my biggest problem with it is it just doesn't feel unique. It was supposed to be a flying type Typhlosion. And it's like, it was really hard to work with, because to be blunt, I didn't know what to do. Because Typhlosion has a design so catered to its current type that it's hard to move around. Especially one, its own regional variant barely changed anything. Also, fun fact, this was actually the role that made us have to come up with rules for how to handle alternate forms of Pokemon. Because I think this was the first time we got a Pokemon with a regional form. Poliwag. I love this one on a lore level, a conceptual level. It's really fun. I think it would be great with the things. But this is a problem you'll see once again. It's a ball. It's another Pokemon that's kind of hard to work with because of its general shape. Now, you may be wondering why I put this above Typhlosion. One, I have the fondness of the video and the discussion. Since the time-lapse corrupted for Typhlosion, we actually never had a discussion for it. And secondly, with Typhlosion, it feels too similar to its base design. This feels like it could be a regional form, and I would love to see it be one, but it's a case of, with Poliwag over here, and I feel like if it's gonna get a regional form, it should be Psychic. Look at it. But I don't know. The problem is, it's hard to work with the design. I did my best. I threw a fish hook in its stem as an homage to its original design and the fact it's a tadpole. And I did things like, that's actually about it, because again, it's a circle. But I love it. It's just a Pokemon that was hard to work with, which was an incredibly fun challenge, but when there isn't that much room to change, it can be less interesting. At number 9 is Shiftry. I genuinely really like the design and the idea, but something about it I just don't look on that fondly. But genuinely, we're all in designs I freaking love since Poliwag, but this is one I just feel less about than the others, but I do like it incredibly well. And the last of our cocoons and our last spherical boy, Spewpa. I love this thing's design. I love Spewpa as a Pokemon, which definitely gives it bias. Genuinely, this is a design I freaking adore, and I love it. Like, genuinely, there's not much I can add. I love the concept. I think the execution was done as well as I possibly could have with my artistic skill and the restrictions I had. It was that or I did Unknown as a bug. Genuinely, I freaking love this design. But the thing with it is I don't have much to say. It's very much incredibly solid. At number 7 is Brionne. Do I think this looks the best? No. Have I gotten a lot better at drawing animals? Absolutely. Do I have a soft spot for this because this was the first Pokemon we drew as part of this? Yes. And genuinely, I don't think I've shared this anywhere, but the reason I decided to do this, like, because Red told me about the idea and I'm like, hey, I want to join. One, because it seemed fun, and two, I genuinely really wanted to get better at drawing animals. Because I sucked at it. I'm still not amazing at drawing animals, but considering I mostly focus on drawing people to begin with, it's a useful skill to have just for things like backgrounds, and genuinely I'm glad this was a thing I did. I'm glad I joined this. I loved making this Pokemon. I have a ton of love for Brionne, especially this type of it, solely because this was the Pokemon that started it all. In reality, it was not. It was the Pokemon that was done before, being Reds, but still, Brionne was the one that started it for me. So I love it just for that, especially on this design. Salazzle was my favorite for a while. Genuinely, I love this design, I love the concept, and the reason I love it so much is, one, it plays with Salazzle's concept as it is, and just tweaks it enough to make it a different type and a different design. But it still has, unlike a lot of Pokemon which change a lot of it at its core, this one is weird. Because instead of changing its core, and then kind of keeping the design somewhat similar, I kept its core and changed the design more. Which I think I should have done more, because I have a lot of this turned out. The only reason it's so low is I sucked at drawing animals at this point. This was the second drawing we've made. But genuinely, I love the idea, I love the design, I love the shiny, I love so much about this. Aw, isn't Dwebble cute? It's fearing for its life and going to electrocute itself to death. Yeah, kinda dark, but generally I think it's pretty cool. I like the design, I like the concept. It's basically Dwebble, but offensive focused, and it gets its power by just plugging itself into electric sockets. I am also realizing the design would not work in an actual Pokemon game, because I based it off of electric sockets, which look different in almost every country. I say almost every country because I live in Canada. We have the same ones as America. I know. I've been to 2 countries, Canada and America. So they would probably have to do something like Vivillon for this, but since it'd be a model change instead of a texture change, they almost certainly would never even go close to this design. But I think it's cute. I think it's a fun idea. It would just not work in execution at all. This Galloping Glow-Up made it surprisingly far. I'll be honest, I don't think anyone expected my Zipstriker to make it this far. I certainly didn't. It looks neat. I like the ribcage leaf design to somewhat resemble Stripes, but I don't have much to say. I'm not that happy with it in reality. Or, I think the best way to put it is I love how it turned out. It just doesn't feel like a zebra. It still feels too much like a grass horse to me. If I could figure out a way to make it a zebra, that easily would have put it higher. But, frankly, it's still a fantastic grass horse that's supposed to be a zebra. At Bronze is Purloin. If you saw the video, you know why my expression is like how it is. Because this thing was a pain to draw. I could not get one I'm happy with. I drew like 5 Purloins that week. Genuinely, this is the best one I got. But I don't want to just throw wings on it to make it a flying type. I don't want to do that. But that's the only thing I could come up with Purloin. It looks fine. It still feels too much like a husky and too little like a cat. Given it also probably didn't help, I just learned there were multiple cat breeds like a week ago. So, I genuinely kind of assumed there was cat and Terrorless cat, and that was it. Like, that's the whole spectrum. There's nothing in between. No, there is. I'm an idiot. But, to be blunt, it looks too much like a husky. It's fine. I love how the drawing turned out. But, it's more... I dislike this one a lot because of how much of a pain in the ass it was to make but genuinely, great design. I love it. I love how it turned out. It was not at all what I wanted it to be, but what it ended up being, it's still something I like. And I'm happy to say it's my own piece of art. Kabutops. Did it follow the theme very well? Not really. It was supposed to be a fairy. It kind of looks more like a bug. Or no, it's supposed to be a bug. It looks part fairy. Honestly, I can't even remember what its primary type was supposed to be. But I love it. I feel like it was fairy and I went too much in the bug angle. But then again, no, I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be a bug and it definitely went maybe a bit too much in the fairy angle. Either way, fairy is mostly because butterfly, I'll be honest. I love it. It's amazing. I recently finished Hollow Knight, so there's a lot of inspiration from one of the potential final bosses of Hollow Knight. There's a few in Hollow Knight, like, depending on how much you complete the game. I think this is based on the, like... I'm trying to say this as least spoilery as possible, I'll be honest. But it's like the default one where you're guaranteed to fight it if you beat the game. And I love that design. I love this design. They work well together. I like it. Genuinely, I love the idea. I love the design. It's weird that Kabutops shrunk like 20%, but eh. It's Pokemon. Sizes will never actually add up. Look at the size of Wailord compared to a Pachirisu. I know I should have said Skitty, but I don't want the jokes in my comments, and now they're going to come, aren't they? Who would have thought that the Pokemon I made 6 versions of would get first place? Yeah, Lillipup was my first shiny. I love Lillipup. I made 2 shinies for this thing. It's pretty obvious. Hell, my dog clearly likes it too, considering they're barking at us. So, you might hear that. But, genuinely, I love this design. It's so friggin' cute. I love Lillipup to begin with. I think it captured the essence of Lillipup perfectly. And it also is, in an interesting way, essentially the adjective slash saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure, since this was taken from Ginger Ninja's ideas for Lycanroc, considering they tried a Portuguese water dog. They couldn't get it. I'm like, hey, that would work for this. Let's use it. So, it's fun. It's basically the antithesis of a saying. It's adorable. It's a Pokemon I love. It is totally a Pokemon I'd use in a playthrough team. Basically, this is everything I like in a Pokemon. Because I love cute things. I love Lillipup, because for shiny and all. So, basically, Lillipup just does so well, because it has so much of what I adore in a Pokemon design. All right there. If you enjoyed, feel free to comment of what your ranking was. Hell, include Red Rains. Make it a top 18. And if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check out the other videos in this playlist / series. Check out my other videos. Basically shameless shilling, because it really does help out.